Today I want to discuss MBD. Here I've got Murphy. As some of you guys know, Murphy had a really bad case of MBD when he came to me, and I treated him. So for some people out there that don't know what MBD is, it actually stands for metabolic bone disease. So it's a common disease in reptiles. MBD is its collective name given to a number of problems seen in reptiles related to calcium. It's different from calcium deficiency, in which there is a lack of calcium in the body, but MBD is associated with calcium disruption in the body. So with Midgar, he pretty much had that. So let's see, what causes MBD? It's caused by a number of various sources, as well as the combination of various factors. So one cause of MBD is improper levels of calcium in the reptile's diet. Calcium is very important in the building of the bones and the muscles, as well as the functioning of nerve endings. And when there is no calcium in the bodies, problems will arise. Calcium levels also affect the phosphorus and the vitamin D3 regulated within the body, which is why calcium supplement should be given when you're feeding your reptiles. Another cause, let's see, would be improper UV lighting can also cause MBD. Some reptiles need the UVB light added to their enclosures. Without the UVB rays, some reptiles such as bearded dragons and iguanas and Euros can't digest the calcium properly. UVB aids the production of vitamin D3, which is essential in digesting calcium. So most reptiles are those that are in need of the extra UV light. Nocturnal reptiles, on the other hand, do not need the UVB rays. They should be given like a calcium D3 supplement at least once a week. So with Murphy here, his previous owner didn't have the proper lighting for him. So, and he went without that UVB light for quite some time, because when Murphy came to me, he had a lot of deformities in him. His front leg was not able to straighten out, so his arm is all turned in like this. And his diet, he did not have the proper supplement either for his diet. Let's see. Another cause would be improper things in the tank. Keeping proper enclosure temps will help reptiles to digest their food properly. Being able to properly digest their food is essential in absorbing the nutrition available, including the calcium. So, you know, you always want to make sure that the temperatures are right and the humidity is right, and you also want to make sure that their tank is also cleaned up too. Other diseases can increase the chances of a reptile getting MBD. Let's see, kidney and liver disease can impair the vitamin D to its active form. Let's see, smaller intestinal disease disrupts at a really good rate. Diseases of the thyroid and parathyroid glands can also affect calcium too, because they provide hormones affecting calcium metabolism. So we always want to make sure that, you know, they're getting the right lights and the right supplements, stuff like that. If you're worried that your reptile might have MBD, my best would be to take it to a vet. But you know, you can always you know, look at your reptile too. Some of the symptoms of MBD will vary with age and the degree of the disease. Let's see. The most often symptoms of MBD occurs as a thin, easily broken bone. Thin bones can contribute to walking problems and can hinder jumping and climbing as the bones become weaker. You may also notice that the joints, your reptile may not hold its feet properly, causing them to bend backwards. That was like with Murphy here. When he came to me, he couldn't support his weight on his legs. And due to the deformity, he still has problems with that. His back legs are bowed. His front arm is bent in. As bones weaken, the body attempts to strengthen them by laying down conductive tissue. This often causes swollen legs. So, you know, if you see a swollen leg, that could be it too. Let's see. Paralyzation can be a symptom as well. You know, damage along the spinal cord can also cause paralyzation in the front and back legs. Soft, spongy jaws, causing eating to become difficulty and painful. They don't want to eat. You know, lack of appetite. So when I got Murphy here, he wasn't eating on his own. So I had to syringe feed him for a couple months before he would actually attempt to eat. So a lack of appetite would, you know, also be a sign. So the soft bone. Stunted growth is another sign of MBD. Murphy's not very big. He's not as long as my other male Tegu, and I'm thinking he's probably about the same age, if maybe a little bit older. Lameness, tremors and jerking motions in the toes and legs of the reptile. When we got him, his legs would shake, you know, kind of like he was cold. I, you know, thought that's just another sign. Constipation, that's another thing. You know, if your reptile's not pooping, well, it could be an impaction or it could be a sign of MBD. Let's see. So, we'll start with treating MBD. Correcting the diet is first. There can be a hard task to take in, as reptiles can sit in their ways and resist change. So when you take them to a vet, I would take them to a vet. They'll probably start you with oral injections of vitamin D and calcium. We did this with Murphy. It was a couple times a day. You also want to make sure that the correction of the temperatures are correct in the enclosure. You want to make sure that you're adding a UV light to the enclosure to assist with the vitamin D3 production. If you have a reptile and the closure already has a UV light, you may want to change the bulb. Get a new bulb. As UV tubes, most of the time you need to change them every 6 months. You may want to consider the UV spotlight. They give out more UV than the tube. We use the Power Sun bulbs for their tanks, and they work really well. Murphy has come out of his MBD, and he's growing really well, and he's eating really good, but he'll never be the same because of the MBD. If you don't see any changes, then you really need to go see a licensed reptile vet. You should not let the disease progress to a severe state, because your pet will not make it through it. You can correct MBD if you catch the signs and symptoms early on in the disease. So my best bet is if you think if your reptile has MBD, take it to a vet, make sure you have your reptile on a correct diet and that everything in the tank is good and that the reptile is getting the correct calcium supplements that it requires. So I hope I covered a little bit on the MBD. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please comment down below. Please ask me any questions. Murphy will never be a normal Tegu because of the MBD, but he does get around really well and he has recovered from it. Just the damages are irreversible if it does go on way too long like it did with him. Unfortunately, I was not there when his symptoms first came on because I was not his owner at the time. So when I got him, it had spread pretty rapidly, and he is now a special ed Tegu, and he's a survivor, and reptiles will survive this if it is caught early. So I hope you enjoyed my video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.